Indeed, you are correct, Charlie Kirk, and it is imperative for us to understand that a second term for Donald Trump would be significantly more perilous than his initial 4 years in office. This increased danger stems from the absence of the internal resistance within his administration that existed during his first term. Should Donald Trump learn from what he perceives to have been his previous missteps, he will ensure that he only appoints staunch loyalists around him. He will make certain that individuals akin to Mike Pence or Mark Milley are not present to restrain him when necessary. Many people labor under the false belief that Donald Trump would be starting anew in 2025. In reality, he would be resuming his agenda precisely where he left off in January 2021. While Donald Trump's exclusive appointment of loyalists poses a threat to our democracy, it also constitutes a significant risk to his campaign. It is well known that the Republican National Committee, RNC, uses the 2020 election as a litmus test when hiring new personnel. They inquire if the individual believes the 2020 election was stolen, and if the response is negative, they are dismissed. We can reasonably infer that the Trump campaign operates in a similar fashion. Consequently, when hiring only those who believe the 2020 election was stolen, the campaign surrounds itself with individuals detached from reality, leading to inevitable incompetence. This incompetence is evident in the Trump campaign's failure to establish the necessary field offices, its inadequate fundraising efforts, and the diversion of funds intended for down-ballot races towards Donald Trump's campaign and legal expenses. Individuals like Charlie Kirk, who genuinely care about the Republican Party's electoral prospects, have been raising alarms for other Republicans by highlighting the Trump campaign's ineptitude. For instance, in a recent clip, Charlie Kirk discusses the struggle to open the essential field offices required to compete against Joe Biden. Here are the relevant statistics. In Georgia, Joe Biden has 14 field offices. In Pennsylvania, 14. In Michigan, 20. In Wisconsin, 44. In Arizona, 8. And in Nevada, 2. Altogether, Joe Biden has 450 full-time staff members across 9 states, with directors for each of the 9 swing states. Conversely, based on available data, it appears Donald Trump has not yet opened a single field office in any of these states and has only 5 staffers, with just 2 out of 9 swing state directors appointed. You articulated this better than I could, Charlie Kirk. Nonetheless, this should not lead to complacency. It is still concerning that polling remains this tight in critical swing states. I understand if some remain skeptical of polling, recognizing that it is not always predictive of election outcomes, especially 6 months prior to the event. However, it should still alarm us and prompt concern, given the polling data available at this time. In 2020, Joe Biden maintained a comfortable lead of 6, 7, or even 8 points in nearly every poll. However, the current situation is much closer, with the race now neck and neck. Nevertheless, there is encouraging news regarding the substantial financial advantage that the Democrats hold. The financial disparity between the parties is quite remarkable, with Republicans reporting staggeringly low numbers this time around. Recently, we observed another round of advertisement purchases, and I will provide a detailed breakdown. According to AdImpact Politics, as of today, we have seen nearly $775 million in fall reservations targeting the Senate, House, and presidential elections. Democrats continue to hold significant reservation advantages. Here is the breakdown by party. For the Senate, Democrats have allocated $32 million, whereas Republicans have allocated $164 million. We are nearly doubling the amount of money they are investing in the Senate. For the House, Democrats have committed $159 million, while Republicans have allocated a mere $1.6 million. Regarding the presidential race, the figures are astounding. Democrats have already reserved $130 million worth of ads, whereas Republicans have reserved $0. These numbers are astonishing, and we can further dissect them. AdImpact also reports that Democratic advertisers continue to hold an advantage in Senate fall ad reservations from August to November. Although Ohio Senate Republicans are outspending us by approximately $2 million, the situation in other states is markedly different. In Pennsylvania, Democrats have purchased $51.5 million worth of ads for the Senate, while Republicans have only invested $7.8 million. In Nevada, Democrats have allocated $47.2 million compared to the Republicans' $1.8 million. In Arizona, Democrats have committed $40.3 million, yet Republicans have somehow allocated $0. In Michigan, Democrats have invested $24.3 million, while Republicans have only spent $8.4 million. In Wisconsin, Democrats have allocated $22.7 million compared to the Republicans' $6.5 million. We are effectively tripling the Republicans' expenditures. However, it is crucial that we do not become complacent. Early investments in field offices and advertisements will yield compounding benefits as the election approaches. The Trump campaign has failed to make such investments, underperforming on multiple levels. The Biden campaign is also winning on messaging, while Donald Trump remains isolated in his bubble on Truth Social. The Biden campaign has been calling out Trump on his false predictions. For instance, during the 2020 debate, Donald Trump claimed that the stock market would crash if Joe Biden were elected. Contrary to this prediction, the Dow has been reaching all-time highs over the past few months, with yesterday being no exception. Consider these clips. The stock market, if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash. Observe the markets. The Dow is currently well above 40,000, specifically at 40,044, reflecting a gain of 136 points, which is just over 1/3 of 1%. Clearly, Trump's prediction was significantly incorrect. It is notable how he blatantly fabricates information, claiming that the top analysts support his statements. In the same manner, he asserts that all legal scholars he knows consider his trial to be fraudulent. However, the legal experts he refers to include figures like Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, who is facing disbarment for attempting to overturn the election, and Alina Habba. Who are these analysts, and which stock market analysts are to be trusted? Perhaps he refers to someone like Michael Burry, who predicts the stock market's collapse every year. To further illustrate my point about social media messaging, the Biden-Harris headquarters Twitter account, managed by their rapid response team, posted these two clips side by side to demonstrate the inaccuracy of Donald Trump's predictions. Additionally, Joe Biden's official Twitter account, or X account, shared a photograph of President Biden symbolically handing Donald Trump a loss, which is an excellent response. This approach resonates well with Generation Z, as it utilizes memes that remain tasteful. In contrast, Donald Trump resorts to juvenile nicknames on Truth Social for every politician, both Democrat and Republican, while Joe Biden employs these sophisticated jabs that appeal to a broader audience. For instance, during the Super Bowl, Joe Biden's tweet garnered significant attention from Generation Z, who found it humorous and shared it widely. This strategy effectively engages Generation Z. To emphasize the threat that Donald Trump poses to democracy, I want to share a clip of George Stephanopoulos on The View, where he critiques Trump's authoritarian tendencies. Here is the clip. The most crucial aspect for people to understand about this election is its deviation from normalcy. We have never had a former president and presidential candidate who was impeached and subsequently indicted for attempting to overturn an election. This is unprecedented in our history. We have never had a former president and presidential candidate who consistently lies about an election they lost. We have never had a former president and presidential candidate who refuses to commit to accepting the results of the next election if they lose. The peaceful transfer of power is the cornerstone of our democracy. Refusing to accept it is fundamentally un-American and, I believe, unconstitutional. I would go a step further. Supporting Donald Trump does not only make one un-American, it makes one the antithesis of a patriot. supporting a man who disrupted the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history, who made baseless claims of widespread voter fraud and persisted with these claims even after they were debunked in multiple courts, and who abandoned his vice president to face danger on January 6th without even checking on his well-being, is indefensible. Donald Trump is a menace to democracy. He seeks to undermine every democratic norm without fully understanding the Constitution himself. Subscribe if you want to stay informed up to the minute about politics in America. This is American Voice. See you in the next video.